Morning, morning. It's the Saints man here, small van driver on the CX. It's Saturday the 12th. Yeah, Saturday the 12th. It's early. Although this probably come out Saturday afternoon the way it takes to download. But yeah, first thing Saturday morning. I did do one Wednesday. I normally split it up. But I didn't work Monday. I only did 4 days. And Wednesday I was busy. Didn't get time. So I just thought I'd do the 4 days on the Saturday. So strap yourselves in because it's going to be entertaining, hopefully. Monday, the 7th. I didn't work. That's the day I didn't work. I had a funeral. Really sad day. Also, the van was booked in. Citroen. It had an engine fault, like, come on. It happened about 2 weeks ago. Darren looked at it. He put his diagnostics machine on. It was something to do with the pressure. He was quite sure it was the diesel particle filter thing that needs servicing anyway, needs sorting out. And he says, but get Citroen to do it. He says, because it's, see what it is, because his diagnostics, it don't go deep enough. So it's booked in, 120 quid worth booked in. Got a courtesy car, nice one. And I got a 5-page report telling me that the van was absolutely perfect, apart from two things. Two bulbs had gone, number plate bulb, which had happened recently, I didn't know, and the central brake light in the middle. They said my oil level was low. It was halfway up the dipstick. They call that low. They like it up the top. And then they said that, yeah, sure enough, the diesel particle filter needed cleaning because it's done 100,000 and that's the life of it as a fluid. Let me tell you what the fluid is that has to go in it. ELOS additive or something. But I looked at it to buy this ELOS additive. Wow, dear money. So they give me a quote. It was quite high. I thought it was quite high, but it's got a warranty of 100,000 miles. And speaking to Darren, speaking to a couple of people, they says that might be a good price. It was only about 90 quid more than what I would have got with a mobile bloke coming out, but there's no warranties with them. And it's done properly. So it had to be booked back in. It's booked in again on the 28th. It's Monday. I'll do it on a Monday. So it's booked back in on the 28th of March to have this work done. Should be okay till then. Even if it's the engine, it won't knacker the engine. What'll happen, it'll just go in limp mode. It'll just go and it won't let you start it because of that. But they were quite convinced it'd be all right until then. It's going to do about another 4,000 miles. So that's fair enough. It's another day on what got the van though. But I say, I also got a video. They sent me a video. Or when they take it and took about, you get your 120 quid's worth, obviously. You get a 4-page report and you get a video which they show me the underneath and everything's solid. Just had brake pads. Told me one of the tyres was getting low, front right. It's passed MOT 3 weeks ago. It's still got 3,000 miles on it. I should imagine 4,000, but they have to point these things out, don't they, to earn their money. So that was that. I say, went to the funeral. It was a biker friend. It's quite sad, but it was quite a good send off for him. I took the Pan European. We rode behind the coffin. Expected about 10 bikes because he's in the same group I'm in, and all the group said we'd go. We took daft work, and ended up there was 40 bikes turned up. So, John Miller, rest in peace, mate. Yeah, sad day, but good to family. Really appreciated. You know, he was a lovely bloke. So moving on. So I got the van back Monday afternoon, 5 o'clock. I went and took the hire car back and picked the van up. I've got a phone call from my mate Chris, who I do a fair bit of work for, and really appreciate the work he gives me. And he says, got a massive day Tuesday if you're interested. He says, and you'll get your target in 1 it. And he was right. It was Southampton, from Northampton to Southampton to Exeter to Bristol, end up in Cardiff. And that's what I did. I picked it up. It was about 9 boxes, that's all. So I picked them up Monday. When I picked the van up, I went straight to his, picked the 9 boxes up, and I could deliver them Southampton Tuesday early. So Monday we didn't work. Well, we did pick these boxes up, which is only 4 miles from where I live. So yeah, I could go in early Southampton, and to get the job done, you have to be in Cardiff for 2 o'clock. This is the last one. They will, if Chris phones, they'll probably accept him because only a couple of boxes after 2, but they don't normally accept anything in goods in after 2 o'clock. So I left early on Tuesday. I left at 5:15, hoping to be in Southampton for about 8 o'clock, half seven, 8 o'clock, and then move along the coast to Exeter. Left at 5:15. Everything hunky dory. It turned out to be a monster day because I did this job, got 252 for it, so way over my target. And by the time I'd done all of them, I stopped grabbed a quick coffee and a toilet break. That's all I did, and I got to Cardiff at 1:15, and that's without having to stop, apart from grabbing a coffee and literally on the go, and then a toilet in, toilet out, back on the go. Never stopped, kept going, and traffic was good. So that was brilliant. So I'd done 252, and it was only 1 o'clock, 1:30. Decided, yep, definitely want something else. If I'm going to smash it, I'm going to have a big day. 1 minute. Get the Guinness mug. And then picked a job. Nothing out of Cardiff. There was a few drivers as well. It's about 5 drivers around Cardiff area. And I thought, well, I can afford to wait. Even if I don't get anything, I'll stay in Cardiff all night. I'll just stay there. But Cardiff brings in Newport, Bridgend, and at a push, Bristol. Bristol's only 30 miles away. 35 miles away, something like that. And a job was there, Bristol to London. And it was COVID, so it's a COVID. Just looking, yeah, it was Bristol. It was at Bristol, centre of Bristol to London. I looked at the mileage. I thought I could do that. The 30 miles dead, I'll forget about that because, I ain't going to get it else. So I quoted 125. And I thought, well, that's fine, because what I'm going to do then, I'll drive home from there, because it's about 65 miles. I thought, I'll get home, it'll be late at night, but I'll drive home. I'll be home by about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I thought, yeah, long day, but if I get it, it's good. And I did. I got a phone call straight, well, virtually within 5 minutes. And it was pick up at, I can't remember now, it's about 3:15, something like that. I can't remember. But it worked out great. I instantly just thought it was a Halo building, because I normally I've been taking all stuff to the Halo building, which is off the Marylebone Road, right centre of London, but it's the north side, just by Euston, and then you're straight up and on the motorway and home. And I hadn't even looked. All I see it was COVID. It was to Greenwich, which is it's a pain in the arse. It's a lot different. Schoolboy error, but that happens, don't it? Anyway, so I took that. I thought, well, that's it. So I picked it up. One COVID test to Greenwich. So I thought, well, and in the end, I went around the M25 and in from the east side, down the A2 that way to Greenwich, instead of going through London. It put 30 miles on my journey, but if I'd have gone through London and done the 125 miles, I think I'd have still been going, because the traffic was horrendous. And it avoids all the aggro. And also avoids congestion. I didn't use no congestion. I got there and I thought, I'm not going to get home now. It's going to be nearer 9 o'clock than 8 o'clock. And on the way there, Chris phoned me, who I'd done the work for in the morning, says, where are you, Dave? Are you likely to be home? I said, yeah, I'm going to get home, but it's not going to be too late. Now, his guys work till 8ish. I says, I don't think I'm going to get there for 8. That's the trouble. Chris, bless him, he knows where I live, and he actually put the boxes for the next day in his vehicle and took them to my house. And my wife met him there, because we've got a big Elgrand, and they put me in the back of there. So I'd got my load for the next morning up my house. So Chris, big thumbs up, mate. Yeah, really appreciate it. Yeah, just top man. So I didn't have to rush then, because I thought, if I've got to meet whoever's at his place at 8 o'clock, I know I'm going to struggle. I'm not going to get there for that. He would normally wait around, but it saved him waiting as well. But it was a good job it did, because by the time I got home, it was 9:15, 20 to 9. And that was just going. I didn't really stop. Got to Greenwich, not too bad actually. Yeah, not too bad. And it wasn't too bad getting home, because you're later, you're missing all the rush hour. But it was a long day. My God, it was a long day. But that's what you do. I ended up doing 630 miles. So, bingo, clocked some mileage up. Money was 377. So it was a really, really good day. I started at 5:15 in the morning, and I finished, by the time I'd loaded them on my van from my wife's 7-seater Elgrand, there was 20 odd boxes. And I got in the house and sat down and had a cup of tea. It was 5 to 9. So we'll call it 9 o'clock. Because I did 15 and 3/4 hour day. But that's what you do. If you want to make money, you've got to do it. And having the Monday off, yeah, it's 2 days' money in one, really. So, and I got a load for the next day. And the next day was from my house, because I got the load on, Oxford, Cheltenham and Cardiff. So I'm back to Cardiff. It was a later start, although I didn't start too late. I left at 6 because you can't get really in Oxford until about 7:15, and it's about an hour from my house, hour and a quarter Oxford. And that's what I did. Went to Oxford, on to Cheltenham, on to Cardiff. Got a little warning at Cheltenham next week, guys. If anyone going to Cheltenham, try and avoid it, because there's a massive horse racing festival, the Cheltenham Festival. Cheltenham is in gridlock, apparently. Tuesday to Friday, there's about 200,000 Irishmen come over, and it's their annual piss-up. So, yeah, if you're going to go to Cheltenham, get in there early or be prepared for queues, because it's manic, apparently. That's what I was told. So, a little tip next week, Tuesday to Friday, not Monday, although they arrive on Monday, apparently, but Tuesday to Friday. But did that on Tuesday, left at 6 in the morning, did the 3, easy drops, I've done them all before. There was a lot. It was 10 for one, 12 for another, but all good. £116. And I was in Cardiff for about 10:15. I was done by 10:15 in Cardiff. Might have been just before that. 10 o'clock. Looking for a job, and I got a job from. It took a while actually. I went and parked at Tesco's in Cardiff, and it took a while. It took about hour and a half, but got a job from Cardiff to Chertsey. Yeah, Chertsey. It was a film studio, was it? Yeah, it was a film studio. I had one pallet, and it was a cable. But by God, it was a heavy cable. It was one of these big power cables. It was 50 metres, he said. But really thick cable. And yeah, it was on a pallet, and apparently it weighed 250 kilos. And yeah, I probably did. When I got to Chertsey with it, it was to a big film studio. I haven't been to this one before. But yeah, got there. Had to phone the contact. Contact came. Well, his Oppo came in a car, and he went, oh, and he says, oh, he said the forklift drivers are on their lunch. He said there's only one. He says, I don't know where he is. He said, but that's no problem. He says, save you waiting. He says, I've got 3 lads. He says, we're on site. He said, I'll bring the van over and back it up to yours. And he did. I didn't tell him how much it weighed. He just thought it was just going to be pick it up and chuck it in. I said, do you know the pallet's got to go as well? I said, I can't keep the pallet. I said, I'm on another job. He said, yeah, we'll take it. So these 3 guys turned up, and they were well built and all. My God, did they struggle. One of them moaned, not at me, he moaned at the bloke saying, you need a forklift for this. This is not health and safety. He went, just get on with it and do it. And the other 2, and they literally slid it across the vans. Yeah, so how much it did weigh, I don't know, because there was 3 of them, and they were struggling to pick 200. If it was 250 kilos, they actually took the cable off the pallet, dragged it off, and then put the pallet on top, because the pallet was heavy as well, because obviously it's, yeah. Anyway, all good for me. So, and then I'm in Chertsey, and I'm thinking, right, it was about, I don't know what time it was, it was 3, 4 o'clock, yeah, something like that. And I thought, there's not that many jobs, and the drivers, because you're you're in a really good area, Chertsey, normally, but there's a lot of drivers. I found this. I don't know whether you guys have found it. In that area, yeah, there is a lot of jobs, but there's a lot of drivers. There is a lot of drivers. Slough, Chertsey, Egham, Stones, anywhere around Heathrow, it's stacks of drivers. And I just weren't getting near. I knew I weren't, and I weren't going to do it. And I thought, oh, Jesus, this is rubbish. And then I got a phone call again from Chris. He said, I got one. He says, can you take a pallet? I said, yeah. I says, up to 1 metre high. I said, it'll go in. I said, a stand-up pallet. He said, well, I've got one pallet going to Bristol tomorrow. He says, in fact, you needn't have to, if you want to go to the company and pick it up, it would save you coming in there. So I thought, do you know what? Yeah, I'll drive home from Chertsey. It's not brilliant, but I'll drive home. I've done £205 on that day, so I hit my target. And I thought, I'm just going to drive home, pick this pallet up, and then I can start again Thursday. So Wednesday I did. I was home at 5. Yeah, I got the pallet on the back. I was home at 5. It was bike night at our calf, my wife's calf, All Seasons Cafe Northampton. Bike night, bikers. Um, yeah, so I went to that. I dropped in, walked, had a great time. Loads of people there. Weather's getting better. We start the weekly bike nights end of March when the clocks go forward. So every Wednesday I'll be looking to get back. Sometimes I don't, but I'll try because it's just brilliant. 400-500 bikes when we get going. Um, so yeah, that was Wednesday. So Wednesday was a pretty good day. Pence per mile wasn't brilliant because I drove back from Chertsey, so it dropped it right down. So my pence per mile wasn't brilliant, but hey, that's what it is. Thursday, I got the pallet on the back. I knew where I was going in Bristol. I do this job. I've done this job regular, and I knew they wouldn't be able to take the pallet off with a forklift. And my van's too low to go on the back of their loading bays, so I knew I'd be splitting the pallet. There's about 20 odd boxes, but that's fine. But I had to show them it was on a pallet because there was only one delivery note for the pallet, all the goods. They hadn't individually done each box, so he'd had to stand the pallet until they see it. They were quite happy with it. Split the pallet, and they had the pallet as well because I weren't taking it, and they were quite happy to take the pallet. So I got 87 for that, which is good, pence per mile. Happy with that, and yep, it was Bristol. I'm thinking it's a good area. Bit knackered actually. I sat in Bristol. I went Morrison's, my favourite supermarket. By the way, everyone knows that. It's literally half a mile from where I deliver. Less than that. The big Morrison's, right in Cribbs Causeway. So I sat there, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get some at home, near home. I'm not looking for a long day today. Just get me, somewhere near home. And I was there looking for jobs at 9 o'clock, and I didn't get a job until about 11:30. I'm going to say, maybe even 12. There was jobs to London. I was thinking about doing a job to London, and I thought, nope. I've been on this M4 so many bloody times this week, and I picked a job up in the end, a small job, to Banbury, which is 25 miles from my house. So I thought, yep, quote for that. I quoted 58 pence. I quoted 65 pence per mile. 58 it was, and I didn't put my miles to it because I was in Bristol, although I had to go the other side of Bristol. It was about 7 miles. 58 quid, and it was costumes, going to a studio which had been forgotten. Picking up another studio, film studio, and it was going to Banbury. And it was just one bag with about 3 costumes in. So that was easy enough. And I got to Banbury, and I thought I'd look for another job. Chris said he hadn't got nothing for Friday, which is fine, because Friday I'm looking to stay localish, which I'm going to tell you in a minute didn't happen. But yeah, so I got to Banbury, and I thought, right, do I wait and sit around here looking for jobs? Or do I pop in? My auntie's on the way home. She lives in Northampton, but it's the Banbury side of Northampton. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to knock it on the head. Have an easy day today. Going to have a cup of tea with my auntie. I'll be at my auntie's for 4 o'clock. 3:30, 4 o'clock. Going to have a cup of tea. Spend some time with her. She lives on her own, bless her. And she's doing all right. Yeah, she's not too bad. So that's what I did. Knocked it on the head. So that day I did 250 miles. That's all I did. But I only got 145 quid. So it worked out 58 pence all in, but that was fine. That was fine. I've had a good week. I've caught up a little bit, and I thought, you know what, £200 a day, 800. I need 80 odd quid for my target, and I quoted on a job. That night there was a job on there for Friday, going Northampton to Kettering to Sheffield for Friday morning. It weren't picking up till 10 o'clock. No, it weren't that night. Sorry. Let's get this right. No, that night there was a couple of jobs on there I quoted I didn't get for the next day, localish to Birmingham. Someone's doing jobs cheap to Birmingham from Northampton. I know it's a great area and you're going to get a second job. But I quoted like 65p, just under 65p, not a sniff, on 2 jobs. One at Birmingham, one to Tamworth, which is near Birmingham. Not a sniff. Anyway, that was Thursday and didn't get a sniff. So Friday I haven't got nothing booked in. So I thought that's alright, I'll have a lay in. I only want 100 quid. And I thought that'll just about do my target sort of thing. So a job popped up I'm there early. First thing, Northampton, Kettering, Sheffield. Pick up 10 o'clock, Northampton, on to Kettering, Sheffield. Sheffield's a good area, and I thought, right, it's 110 miles all in. I quoted £85 and got a phone call quite quickly saying, yep. And Friday was a day of hospitals. I did 4 hospitals on Friday. I did Northampton Hospital, I did Kettering Hospital, and then I delivered to Sheffield Children's Hospital. And it was just envelopes. They got a regular driver does it, but he had a day off. The instructions were implicit. They was down to a T. Who to phone when you got there, and the important thing was at Sheffield that you pulled in the car park up the front, the main reception. You have 10 minutes waiting. There's an ANPR, and if you're a minute over 10 minutes, you're done. So they've been put a little map on there. Everything. It was really good instructions, and it was a good job it was. Because Northampton and Kettering, I know exactly where they were because I've ferried my mum to hospital when she was here, bless her, to Northampton. I know every bloody ward. And we know Kettering very well because Julie's 2 daughters, and it was from the maternity, so we knew exactly where that was when we'd been to see them when they had kids. So got them, and Sheffield, it was right in the centre. But got there, parked in the 10-minute waiting, patient unloading, put my thing up, courier. I've got a laminated sheet, I put in the front of the van, courier. Ran in, and the lady was on the ball. I'd phoned them anyway to say I was a couple of minutes away. I said, yep, as soon as you get here, give us a ring. And I got there, I run into the reception, and I said, I'm looking for this specific unit. She says, yep, you're in the exactly the right place. I'll sign for that if you want. And I'll phone them and get them to come and pick it up. So I was in, out. It was like a Formula 1 racing team. I nearly jogged. I must have been 5 minutes. So all sound, but I can see what you mean. So that was it, Sheffield. I'm done. So I'm looking for a little job somewhere back south, and that's me done. And the jobs, they were going to Manchester. I didn't want to go to Manchester. They were going York. No good. Edinburgh. I nearly got in touch with Neil, see where he was, because I wanted Edinburgh. Yeah, nothing where I was going. Then a job popped up from Rotherham to Derby, which I quoted on. No, nothing. I perched really nice little garage, and they got a car parking at the back for customers. Grabbed a coffee, so I bought some, and I thought, I'll wait here a while. And a shipper who I've worked for a few times, then put 2 jobs on, one to Gloucester from Sheffield, and one to London from Sheffield. I thought, do I want to go to London? And it was London in right in the centre of London. I thought, do you know what? Sod it. I'll put a price on it. I thought, got to be careful here. Do I want to be in London? I had this last Friday. I was in Croydon. It took me 3 hours to get home. It was 160 miles. And I thought, I'll put 165 on. I know I'm going to have to pay £15 congestion. That makes it 150. But it's still 90 odd pence, 95p per mile, every mile. And I thought, I'll quote that. And if they go for that, it's a price, Pete the Courier says, and a few others, Big Beardy, put a price in that you will do it for. If they refuse it, they refuse it. So that's the price I put in. Not expecting to get it. Sat there with my coffee, and the phone went. And I could see it was the shipper. And I thought, yeah, answer it. And I answered it. And it was, sure enough, it was pickup. Pickup was Meadowhall, right by the motorway. 4 boxes to another hospital in London, London Bridge Hospital, right in the centre. But I got good money, and it was right by the motorway. And I thought, you know what? Do it. You've got to do it. You know, it takes my day to 250 quid, less 50, 235 quid. I didn't start till 9:30 either, because I didn't first pick up that morning was 10 o'clock. So I'm going to still get home for 7:30. So it's only a 10-hour day. Yeah, it's all motorway, and it's just the last bit. You just got to just chill, and that's what happened. Picked it up, 4 boxes for the theatres in London. And boy, it was tough to find. Well, it wasn't tough to find. Sat-nav was really good. I've done London when I used to have the limos many, many years ago. And London Bridge is a real pain. It is a real, right in the crux of London. And to get to where I had to go to, I had to go through the Borough Market. And the Borough Market's famous, obviously, for when all that blooming carnage went on the other year, when there was all them deaths. But yeah, I went through the Borough Market, just tippy-toed, kept just chilled out, saw the sights right near the Shard and all that. And yeah, found the hospital, real little small entrances, and yeah, we got it delivered. Sack barrow came in very handy. I got 4 big boxes. They were a lot higher than the sack barrow, but I've got a couple of big bungee straps, strapped them over. I was never going to carry them in one go. It was going to be 2 goes because they were too big. They weren't heavy, but they were big, and they were higher than me. They were like, when I put 4 on top of each other, about 7 foot tall. But strapped them on my barrow. Found the lift and a nice bloke who took me straight to the theatres and got them delivered. I have the magnetic things for the outside of the van saying my courier company, and when I do hospitals in London or anything that's a bit iffy where I'm parking, I smack them on there so you can see I'm a courier company. I weren't parked on double yellows, but I was parked in an area where people might say, what the hell's that doing here, especially with all the aggro in London. There was security, and so I put them on there so it sort of gives me an opportunity, you know, hopefully not going to get nicked or, you know, done for parking where I shouldn't. And yeah, got it delivered. It was chucking it down the road as well. It wasn't very nice. It was 5:15 when I did this delivery. And by the time I got it delivered, got the paperwork and sorted it all out and got back to the van, yeah, I left there about 6 o'clock and put in home. Didn't even look for a job. Well, it was pigging jobs up. I weren't interested. I thought, no, you know what? That's me done for the week. I'm going home. And I got home. I would have got home at 8 o'clock, but I phoned the wife up to say what time I was going to be home. She says, oh, come pop in our chip shop and get some chips on the way home. So we had fish and chip night. And I did. That was my week. So that day I did 375 miles and got £250, but less congestion, 15 quid. 235, which worked out 63 pence a mile. So it wasn't too bad. It was an easy day. It was all motorways. It was boring. Motorways. Motorway to Sheffield, boring. Motorway to London, boring. Lost traffic in London. Getting out of London, went over Blackfriars Bridge. I know a couple of shortish cuts that get me up and through Regent's Park and that way, so you miss out the A5 or that bit. But it still took me a while. But yeah, fair bit of dead mileage this week, but a good week overall. So I worked 4 days. I did 1,640 miles. I did a mega day, didn't I? I did 600 odd miles one day, but 1,600 miles. So average 410 miles a day. My duty time, I did 49 hours in 4 days. So 12 and a quarter hours a day, which is, you know, so fair enough, isn't it? My average per day was £240.50. So it works at 20 quid an hour, which every hour, from leaving my door to getting back, is 20 quid an hour gross. You know, take off your fuel, which we'll come on to in a minute. I did £962 in 4 days, so it was a good week. It was a busy week. I had one day I wasn't that busy. I only did 9.5 hours, 9 hours. The other 3 days, yeah, 11 and 3/4 and a 15. So it was all right. But so my target's 1,000 now in March, 1,000 a week. In 4 days I did 962. That averaged out the price at 60 pence, which is pretty low. I try and aim for 65 to 70, but there's a lot of drivers out there. I'm trying to keep my prices higher, but you need to work as well. But I'm trying to do it where I'm making money. If you drop down too low, you ain't going to make money. But that's what it is. My price for fuel that week, on Friday, does everyone get the same as me? Get your messages for your price for your fuel the following week? I've got 3 fuel cards, 3 fuel cards, 2 with the same company, so that comes from one message. So 2 messages come through Friday with your next week's fuel price. Did everyone do the same as me and go, what the fucking hell was that? And then when the second one comes through, it's like, shit. Because my price, my UK fuels with my Texaco Fast Fuel was 134 plus VAT, which is 161. That's week commencing the 7th. Next week, it has gone up from 134 to 152, 18 pence. Add the VAT, comes out at 182 next week. That's my UK fuels. My BP fuels, I've got a BP UK one as well. My BP UK one was 137 on the 7th, so that was 2.5 pence dearer than the other UK fuels ones. Incredibly, BP UK fuel cards has gone up 21 pence. That comes out staggeringly after with VAT at 190. 190. They're expecting me to get fuel. My other UK fuel cards with VAT's 182. Now my BP fuel card, which I don't use, very rarely use, which has always been more expensive than UK fuels, it's been pretty steady. And all of a sudden, that's the one I'm using because it was 131 week commencing the 7th last week, which brings it out at 157, which 157 is great because there's nowhere under, unless you're scouring around the country, you might get up north. But that has gone up from 131, 14 pence, 145, which comes out 145.9, which is 146, which then you add the VAT on it, comes out next week is 175. So my cheapest fuel card next week is 175. So that's what I'll be using unless I can get it cheaper with my own debit card, which I'm sure I'm going to get cheaper than 175. I would like to think so. Believe it or not, even my BP garage price at the moment is 174. So my debit card's going to be used next week unless fuel prices over the weekend go dramatically higher, which I'm expecting them to do because this is what these are doing. They're preempting that fuel is going to rocket again. So it will be £2 a litre soon. It will. It's as simple as. But it gets you thinking. You can't suppress this into your quote. I see Neil from Neptune's he put a little bit on where he actually put in his notes, he put a surcharge of £2 because of the price of the fuel, and his shipper happily accepted it. In fact, the honesty approach like that, it worked for Neil. He said, I can fully understand it. The fuel's gone through the roof. And if you look at it, my fuel prices I'll go back my book. My fuel prices in 1st of February, which is 6 weeks ago, my cheapest one was BP UK at 121. It's got up 37 pence in 6 weeks. You add VAT on the top, it's got up 145 to 45 pence in 6 weeks. A litre. That's the dearest one. It's 175. 30 pence a litre it's gone up. I put, in a day, probably 35 litres, 40 litres. It's got up 30 pence, that's 12 quid. That's 12 quid a day. 60 quid a week. So something's got to give. So I am going to look at keeping the prices higher, or do we add a surcharge? Do we just put it in the price and say, the price here, guys, we've got to put our prices up. You've got to be getting this fuel back somehow, and it's going to go up. It's going to keep going up. But hey, shut the book now. It's Saturday. So, all in all, it was a good week. A good variety of work as well. I've just wrote down what I did. Like Monday I had off, just picked up. Tuesday I did my retail drops, but also did a COVID test from Bristol to London. Wednesday I picked a pallet of cable up after I'd done my retail in the morning. Thursday I did my retail in the morning, then delivered the costumes to a film set in the afternoon. And Friday I did 4 hospitals. So a lot of variety. This is what I like. That's what I like. But yeah, prices. Yeah, there is more work about. I'm sure there is. There seems to be more. Friday there was work pinging everywhere on the way down to London. It was pinging all over the place. It is picking up, I think, but is it picking up enough to keep the prices high and still get the jobs? That's what you've got to ask. I hope it is. Going to sign off now because it's a rugby this afternoon. England Ireland, cracking game. Felt sorry for the Welsh last night against France. Dan Biggar, our captain of Wales, is a Saints player. Thought Wales fought really hard. And then we've got today, England game. Wife's going to get home from work because it don't start till 5, I don't think. So it's England, Ireland. Should be a humdinger of a game. Courtney Laws, Saints man, captain of England. Awesome player. And then tomorrow, we've got the rugby. Saints at home to Wasps. So we're going to take the bike. Got the Pan-European out on Monday. Jim, you'll know this in Lincolnshire. Lovely to get the bike out, even though it was a funeral. But after the funeral, I had a little spin on it. Got home. Going on the rugby on the bike tomorrow because the weather's dry. Yeah. Also, another thing I want to quickly add. It's getting lighter in the morning earlier. 6 o'clock I'm leaving in the morning and it's just getting light. It is getting longer. The days seem to be longer. And it's a lot easier. Oh, sorry. I think it's a lot easier when it's lighter, working later hours. You don't feel as though you're in the middle of the night. Starting in the dark, finishing in the dark feels like a bloody long day. Whereas if it's just getting light, you feel as though, yeah, it's right time to start work. And then at the end of the day, I mean, I got to London at 5:15. It was chucking it down the rain, but still light. You find places easier. So the lighter it gets, I think the better. You want to work a bit, perhaps more hours. Have to work more hours. But hey, I've got nothing booked in for Monday yet. Monday's quite my quietest day normally. It just seems to be that way, but it's not a problem. We'll pick some up. Hope you're all doing well. If you want to subscribe, I've got 340 odd now. Amazing. Like, subscribe. Apparently you have to push a button for a bell to get notifications. You know it's all unedited. I don't put pictures on. I'm going to have a look at doing some. Try. My wife says, you got to put some pictures of it on, like the other couriers, because she looked at a couple of others. And I said, I haven't got the brain power for that. I'm going VAT registered. Another quick one. We're sorting that out this coming week. Flat rate VAT scheme's going to start April the 1st. I know Neil at Neptune's, him and his wife have sorted that out. My accountant, it's definitely worth doing. I've been chatting with the accountant. I've got a really good accountant. Yep, it cost me money, but top girl. So we're going to be starting that, and that will be April the 1st. I think it's going to start. I'm getting my numbers sorted and whatever you have to do. I've got to get in touch with the CX and blah blah this. But yeah, it's got to offset the price of the fuel. I think that's what it's going to do. I think all that's going to do is just offset the fuel price. But hey, rambling on for 48 minutes. Jesus, 38 minutes. Hope you're all doing well. Any questions, I will try and answer. I've had a few questions. I'll try and answer them as quick as I can. Hope you're all doing well. Make money.